What's going on, guys? ShadowNinja here, and today we have to talk about the state of the game for Destiny 2. Today, game director Joe Blackburn dropped this massive article breaking down what to expect in Destiny 2 right now, in the future, and giving us some glimpse and teases to what to potentially expect with the showcase. I will be completely honest, I already read this article, basic impression, neutral. Nothing here got me overly excited. Nothing here got me overly pessimistic. Everything here I'm just neutral about. I highlighted some key points. We're not going to read over everything, so in the pinned comment down below, I'll leave a link for the state of the game. If you guys want to read any sections I didn't cover, definitely feel free to do that. But here we'll be talking about the important parts. So this is a basic intro. We'll scroll down into some other stuff. So basically they've said that they were listening and things like that, but with ritual updates, they're changing things up with some of our challenges in a good way. So in season 22, we're updating those weekly ritual challenge requirements so players can complete their 9 challenges in any ritual playlist they'll like, as opposed to having to complete 3 across Vanguard, Crucible, and Gambit playlists. We're also increasing the frequency of ritual engram drops after completing the ritual activities, and we're making the latest ritual loot pool weapons focusable at their respective vendors at the start of the season for the first time, rather than needing to wait until the following season to chase those god rolls. A lot of stuff here is awesome quality of life changes. Allowing players to dive into a specific part of the game they want to play is something we've been asking for a while. A lot of people don't like playing Crucible, and many people don't enjoy playing Gambit. So why force them to play that playlist if they're not having a good time with it? It's honestly beating a dead horse over the head, and you don't want to make player engagement revolve around it doing stuff you don't like. So I think this is going to be helpful for the engagement and for morale of the community. Now, when we scroll down, we got some stuff, and this is where things, I'll be honest, get a little bit on the wow. They're really saying some of this stuff out loud. So in this Guardians versus Guardians PvP section, the most frequent feedback we see is that there is just not enough new PvP content, specifically new maps. To set expectations, our studio structure is built to support more overarching updates to PvP like the ones above, rather than focusing exclusively on maps. When we do focus our resources on building new Crucible maps, it comes with the trade-off of multiple teams' bandwidth on work that contributes to a variety of experiences that players also hold dear, such as new story or exotic mission content, core activities that make up the foundation of each season, or new destination. Similarly, bringing back reprised maps also involves extensive porting to the latest version of Destiny 2, which requires additional resources to ensure the maps work correctly for multiple game modes and playstyles for years to come. So when it comes to PvP content, they're pretty much saying, hey guys, PvP isn't a high priority. It isn't a high engagement rate. Whether you feel like that or not, some people listening to this or watching this video may be PvP enjoyers, massive fans, the only thing they play. They don't see the purpose of diving into what those players want specifically. It's very unfortunate, but I do appreciate the little bit of transparency we're getting here on the task that is required to do such things like that and what it does to other parts of the game. I love new story. I love exotic mission content. I love more core activities that make the foundation of each season and new destinations. All this stuff is important to the main experience for myself when it comes to Destiny 2. So for me, who does play PvP and enjoy to some extent, I accept this answer, and I agree that, yeah, this is a problem, and I don't want to sacrifice that other stuff to get a new map every season. Maybe they can work on a better workflow of getting new maps, but again, all that type of stuff is internal. We have no idea what's going on with their production cycle. For Season 22, we're getting a new Vex Network themed map, which sounds and looks incredible, something I've always wanted for Splicer, a new Relic 6v6 mode, and a gunplay focused checkmate modifier, which focuses on, specifically primary gunplay. This is a little tease at the new map. Honestly, stuff like this I think is incredible. It allows for a little bit more flexibility and proper design structure. We'll see how this plays out. The Witch Queen map is not my favorite, so yeah, I have high hopes for this one, to be honest. So now, they did describe the new map as an asymmetrical map. Some people may not like this. Me personally, I'm okay with this, but it simply says that two sides or halves are not going to be identical. They're not going to be symmetrical. So we'll see how things shake up. I don't really care about this type of stuff. Sometimes that 3-lane, that simple, repetitive structure gets boring and dull after a while. So hopefully this is solid. The Witch Queen map wasn't that good, so we'll see how things go out when it comes across. Now they talk about checkmate relic stuff. I'm not really too intrigued by, as well as making, matchmaking improvements. None of that stuff sounded juicy or enough to talk about. So when it comes to Season 23, we got some teasers. There's going to be a new Iron Baron mode. Hopefully this isn't as hated as the new one that came across. We're also getting a Hake Aggressive Frame Strand Pulse Rifle as the newest competitive division weapon reward in this season. The Arc Sniper from this season will be a permanent, or at least available still, when Season 22 is rolled around. And as a reminder, the Citadel from 2018 is coming back in Crucible in Season 23. So all that stuff may be good news for some people, maybe not so much. Who knows? I think the Strand Pulse Rifle is intriguing, but again, I don't know how much we're going to need it at that point, but let's see how things play out. Now, this next part is about Vanguard. They're adding Vanguard medals, nothing too crazy. It seemed a little bit more of a way to expand the game rather than just make something drastically new. I'm kind of wait to see how this feels in Season 22, but it sounds intriguing. This is basically the same system from Guardian games, and this will still be in Guardian games. Don't worry about that if you guys care about that. So they go on to say this: we've also recently focused more of our team's resources into more varied and frequent seasonal activities such as Battlegrounds that can later make their way into the Vanguard playlist alongside our strikes and eventually serve as new additions to Nightfall and Grandmaster playlists. While this can come at a cost of other content in a given year, we feel that this exchange has been worth the extra investment for the overall health of our playlist. So I've always wanted more strikes. I don't mind Battlegrounds. I think it's a very strong structure they have there. So stuff like this I think is fine. They're just clarifying that, hey, yeah, we're going to continue to do what you're seeing. Nothing's really going to change. We view this as an overall health increase to our playlist, and I agree with them on that. I do think that for the most part, the health of the playlist has been very solid. Now, Gambit. This is where things are going to get a little bit on the, wow, they went there side. So not much is said here, but although we know our Gambit fans mostly care about new or returning maps, this is an area of the game with lower engagement that would take resources away from more popular parts of the game to shore up. So yeah, right there, guys. They're saying doing this is going to hurt the game, and lower engagement means that we shouldn't focus on this mode. This may hurt for fans of it, and I know I wanted them to increase Gambit a little bit. I think it's a phenomenally designed mode, one of the best Bungie's ever come up with. But again, if the mode has low engagement, at that point, your game's doing fine without it. Why take any resources away to shore up a mode that isn't doing well? So while they don't have plans to dedicate more resources to significantly transform Gambit, we do have a few updates planned for the year of the final shape. Such things as adding the Shadow Legion and Lucent Hive enemy types, I think, are small, notable additions that should feel something. We'll see. And then this is the returning map, Citadel. This is the returning map. Cathedral of Scars is on Dreaming City. This is actually a really awesome map. Really excited to play this once more. So with all that gloomy stuff about Gambit kind of being dead and gonna die and probably being vaulted at some point, they're reducing the number of Gambit specific seasonal challenges starting in Season 22. We're adding Fireteam matchmaking to Gambit as well next season, which will replace the freelance node. So if you guys are annoyed at getting stacked, this should help with those complaints. If you guys are looking for a competitive experience, play with Fireteam. This may also help, but I can see how this backfires because Gambit shouldn't be competitive, I don't think, at least anymore. Now, armor set rewards, I think in my opinion, this may not be a big deal for other people that don't wear ritual armor sets or things like that, but this kind of annoyed me the most. This is my biggest frustrating part of this whole state of the game. Players have pointed out that we didn't release a new armor set for the Ritual playlist, specifically for Vanguard, Crucible, and Gambit. With Lifefall, as previously called out in our yearly release schedule, delivering Ritual armor sets at the rates we have been in the past has become increasingly challenging, especially considering that these sets have historically had a very low adoption by players as both base armor and cosmetic ornaments. The main reason I have an issue with this is that for many players who don't spend money in the Eververse and things like that, these are kind of new sets that they're looking forward to. Not everyone that plays this game has the ability to spend money on silver or in some cases earn bright dust. I'm not saying that's a large amount of people, but we have to keep in mind that there are players who financially couldn't do stuff like this. I'm thinking of myself as a young teenager who first loved Destiny 1, fell into it when I was like, I think 13 years old. It was what, 2013 it came out? I don't even know. I was just in high school, I guess. Whatever age that was, I couldn't spend money in the Eververse because I didn't have a job. I didn't have all this other stuff. So stuff like this would affect that type of player. And I think that should be kept in mind. We're pumping out a ton of paid armor sets. Why can't we give free ones? So that's frustrating. I don't like this at all. They need to change this. I'm not asking for much, but this is very important that I think for players who don't spend money, they actually do look forward to some of this stuff. Whether you agree with that or not, I just think as a matter of principle, this should definitely be reverted post final shape. So they did say this. We will no longer be creating a new set for every expansion. That sucks. That really does suck. We are prioritizing the delivery of a new ritual armor set alongside final shape, so I guess that's good in that regard. And they also have a new armor set for Trials of Osiris releasing in a few short weeks, specifically for Season 22. I don't like stuff like that. That type of stuff frustrates me, but it is what it is. And that's a little tease at it. It looks like a low-res picture. I don't know why, but yeah. Now, they talk about game security here. Not going to get too much into it. I don't run into cheaters. Some of that stuff I think can go over a lot of people's head. Now, they do clarify and talk about more stability stuff. Again, nothing I want to talk about too much because a lot of the stuff is complicated. And if you guys care about it, read it. If you guys don't, then there's not much you're missing out. Seasonal structure. They mentioned this before. We've been working behind the scenes to shake up the seasonal paradigm this year to subvert players' expectations and make each season feel unique. Looking for more variety and repeatable seasonal activities, and more than anything, we want to consistently surprise everyone with what comes next in each season. So they're reiterating that they're doing things to change things up. I'm still waiting for that. None of this gets me excited. I mean, it's kind of expected, but I do, again, want to see more unique stuff. Dive into that kind of the D1 structure, not D1 structure, but that art style, that foundation that we've got. I'm not against pirates. Not against Bob the Builder's season of deep seasonal activities, but I want to feel like a paracausal being fighting against something, not rebuilding something in that regard, if that makes sense. I'll have a video on that eventually. I'm working hard on it. There's a lot of script and a lot of, cross-referencing stuff like that. But they're going to give us a little preview of what's to come. Now, at our midpoint in Lifefall's year, we've hoped the sum of Season 2's updates alongside new content we've called out and everything yet to be revealed in our showcase. We will make Destiny 2 feel as fresh and exciting as ever for as many players as possible. This seems cool. Sounds exciting, but I'll wait and see for some of that stuff. So some of the quality of life changes coming, cosmetic favoring, so you can favorite your specific top shaders. This is something that is very small, very cool, something that has been long overdue. Stasis aspects and fragments have been moved to the vendor system, and any character who has completed the Beyond Light campaign will be available to acquire all available stasis aspects and fragments from Elsa Bray on Europa starting next season. So, if you guys don't have those lovely stasis fragments and aspects on characters you do not play, don't do any of that this season. Wait till next season so you guys can purchase. This is a very massive quality of life change. Now, Transmat will be unlocked, so some of this stuff I don't really care for. I mean, small, some people may, but it is what it is. Wish and their pursuit involvements, again, I think that affects a very small amount of players, nothing too big to talk about. Now, this is massive for, I think, new players. Resource tab added to collection. So this change we are really excited about. We now have a resource tab in the collections, which shows you all the currencies, upgrade modules, and engrams in the game, appropriately categorized with information on how to acquire it, as well as what to do with it once you have it. This has been long overdue, and I'm very happy this game is finally introducing something like this. This should be massive for new players or your friends who are struggling to get into this game, things like that. They talk about Iron Banner challenges split. Nothing too crazy in my opinion. Ritual rank up immediately stuff. Nothing too crazy in my opinion, just small stuff. One thing that is shocking is we're getting new strand aspects. These aspects will be Whirling Maelstrom for Hunter, Banner of War for Titans, and Weave Walk for Warlocks. These are new aspects, and at this point I'm wondering, are we going to get new stuff for the light subclass and for stasis at some point? I would hope so. New aspects I think is great. expand the way to play, expand the way we interact with our builds, because every now and then it becomes rinse and repeat. This is what works and nothing needs to change in that regard. Now, when it comes to armor reworks, they've mentioned this before, but reworking another batch of underused exotic armor pieces in Season 22. Watch for a developer insights article going live next week to cover all the changes we've got coming. So if you guys are excited for some underperforming exotics next week, we got some stuff to talk about. They've also teased that they're introducing some entirely new weapon subfamilies with the final shape. I'll wait to see how that pans out. Again, sometimes stuff like this is amazing. Sometimes it's kind of forgotten. A la the Stasis Waveframe heavy grenade launcher from Neonuma. We haven't seen much of that lately. Now, they've talked about weapon tuning preview. They go over a lot of stuff they talked about, but they gave us some new information here. Hand cannons will see increased reload speeds and PvE damage buffs against minor and major enemies. Sword full power heavy attacks will be usable with any non-zero amount of sword energy, and sword guard is being buffed in several areas. Touch of mouse is getting some tweaks we think players will enjoy, and perks such as bipod, horrible perk, envious assassin, Under Over will become much more useful in Season 22. Watch for the full breakdown later this month in probably the showcase. Some of that stuff is great, stuff I like a lot. Now, up here, they go over reinforcing their goals. When it comes to expand the player's imagination, our next season will be heading into creative territories we have never explored before. We're changing some things up in a big way, introducing the seasonal progression paradigm with an all-new mechanic. All will be revealed on August 22nd. That's just exciting. Now, they also go back and looking into the Lifefall reaction of expansion with their story structure. We know there are some who would have preferred to experience these stories during Lifefall's campaign. With those players in mind, we believe the totality of this year's narratives will set the stage for Final Shape in ways that a single story beat never could. And to put concerns to rest right now, the Final Shape and its raid will provide a climactic conclusion to the Light and Darkness saga before we look ahead to what comes next in Destiny 2. What does this mean? We'll see. But yeah. Now, when it comes to bringing back the challenge in Destiny, they've reiterated that they think they've been pretty successful in this regard, but they're also confirming that we also won't be raising the power level cap in Season 22. I like this. I know some people don't because it gives them nothing to do in that regard, but hey, let's see how things play out in the long run. I like the fact that I don't have to grind pinnacles every single week, and they acknowledge that there. Now, in terms of enriching their content, we're bringing back some of the best Destiny 2 content we've ever made with our new exotic mission Rotator, starting day 1 of Season 22. Now, they get specific, the return of Presage to offer a new avenue for players to earn Dead Man's Tale, which will also be craftable for the first time. After that, Box Obscura and Operation Seraph Shield will join rotation. No word on the other exotic missions from before these times, such as, Whisper of the Worm, Outbreak Perfected. I think that was Zero mission. I hope those stuff make it back, but we'll see how things play out in that regard. Now, this is confusing, but exciting at the same time. They have this new thing called Pathfinder. While we've made the recent decision to push this initiative to the Final Shape, we have plans to replace some bounties with a more rewarding and engaging system, tentatively called the Pathfinder. This is going to be debuted on the new destination in the Final Shape, and we're currently nailing down a plan for how we can use this new system to replace core ritual bounties in the new year. For now, here's a work in progress preview of the Pathfinder UI. Some of the stuff looks pretty good. How rewarding is it? Stuff like that. I have no clue, but nonetheless, this new system hopefully could be a solid quality of life to those boring challenges that we have done. And when it comes to connecting our Guardians in Season 23, LFG feature will be in the game, and in the Final Shape we're making big changes to the progression system that will help connect even more players and remove barriers, keeping friends from taking on the same content together. All that stuff sounds intriguing and looks intriguing, but that's pretty much the whole little talk about state of the game. It was a lot. This video is probably long as hell, but overall, again, I'm neutral. Some of this stuff sounds good, but I'm waiting for that showcase to truly gauge on what all this means. And of course, I'm excited for the Final Shape and the future of Destiny, but I want more concrete stuff in my eyes, like seeing things, then reading things. I want to see how things work. I want to play it myself. That's kind of where the point I am with this game. So leave your thoughts down below. So if you guys enjoyed this video and found this video informative, definitely drop this video a like, helps with the video a ton. And if you guys want more content from me with Destiny 2, definitely be sure to hit the subscribe button and that bell to be notified for when I do drop more content. But that's all I got for this one. ShadowNinja here, and I'm out.